Hello mathematicians, it is time to take a look at transversals. So let's begin. So what is a transversal? It is a line that intersects a pair of parallel lines. So often you will see lines named by lowercase cursive letters. I don't know why they choose that, but they do. And it will say M is parallel to line N. And then you might have this line named L. And L is a transversal. It's a line that is intersecting two parallel lines or a set of parallel lines. All right, and then when that happens, all kinds of things are true about the angles and angle relationships that are formed here. 8 angles are formed by this intersection, and we're going to look at all of them now. So the first thing to know about this type of situation is that there are 4 angles formed here and 4 angles formed here. And because these are parallel lines, you can take that little section of angles, you can slide it down this transversal and lay it right on top here, and all 4 of these angles are going to be the same measure as their corresponding angles here. So what that means is angle 1 and 5 correspond, they're the same measure. And we have angle 2 and angle 6 correspond, they're the same measure. And continuing on, angle 3 and 7 correspond, meaning they're in the same spot in the set of 4, and they are corresponding. And then finally we have angle 4 and angle 8 are in the same spot in this 2 sets of 4, and they are corresponding. So what's true of all these sets of corresponding angles is that they are in the same position in the set of 4 angles, and they are congruent. So if this angle measures 120 degrees, then this angle measures 120 degrees because it is the corresponding angle. It's the angle in the same spot. We also have vertical angles, and vertical angles are angles that within a set of intersecting lines, they're the angles that point at each other, I like to say. They are pointing at each other here, making a little arrow at each other. So for instance, in this transversal, these 2 angles are pointing at each other, as are these 2. And what that means is that they are the same measure and they're congruent. So if this is 120, this is also 120. Now, one more thing we're going to use when trying to identify measures of angles is the concept of supplementary angles. And if you remember, complementary angles are 2 angles that total 90 degrees, and supplementary angles are 2 angles that make a straight angle or are 180 degrees in total. So the idea of supplementary angles is going to help us to arrive at angle measures, as we have all types of straight lines here, but we will start right here. So if angle 1 is 120, then angle 2 must be 180 minus that 120, or 60. And then, of course, we have another set of vertical angles here, angles that are pointing at each other when 2 lines intersect, and that means that 3 must also be 60 degrees. So now I've identified all 4 of these angles. Again, if I just slide this down the transversal, they are all going to be the same here, but we can also use other ways to figure these out. So there's something called alternate interior angles and alternate exterior angles. So first let's figure out what is the interior and what is the exterior. Well, the interior is this section inside your parallel lines. This is considered the interior, like the inside of your house. Okay, this is all the interior. And then we have the exterior, which is this section outside of the parallel lines and this section outside of the parallel line. So this is like it's your house, inside, this is your front yard, this is your backyard, these are the outside areas here. So we're going to be looking at first interior angles and other sets of angles that are congruent. So alternate interior angles are congruent. So alternate interior. So it means that inside here, interior, this angle inside is equivalent or congruent to this angle. This is the alternate interior angle, meaning it's in the exact opposite place. We cross the line and we head to the other end, and those are alternating interior angles. So obviously there's two sets of those. This angle and this angle are also interior angles that are alternate, and they are equivalent or congruent as well. And then we have the same idea, but on the outside area or the exterior area. So this angle on the exterior, the alternate angle would be crossing that transversal and heading to the opposite spot. Here, these are congruent. And then also on the exterior, this would be the alternate exterior angle. Those are also congruent. So that allows us to find other angle measures here. We can say that 8 is also 120 due to the fact that it's an alternate exterior angle. We can say 6 is also 60 because it's an alternate interior angle. We can use vertical angles here, or we can use alternate exterior angles here to say that this measure is 60 as well. All right, so let's try one and just go through and try to name the reason why we are arriving at that measure. So let's start here and let's say this is 50 degrees. So angle 2 is 50 degrees. So that's just the angle we happen to name and have the measure of first. So again, we can start anywhere here. We can begin by saying, okay, well, 3 is a vertical angle, so it's also 50 degrees. The reason, vertical angle. And there's more than one way to do this. There are many ways to arrive at all of these angles. We haven't done this before, but we can also use this straight line and allow us to say if this is 50, the two of these angles must be 180 because it's a straight line. So therefore this one must be 130. So angle 1 is 130, and we used a supplementary angles to figure that out, vertical angles to figure this out. We can use vertical angles again here. These are angles that are pointing at each other. So 4 we can say is 130 as well due to vertical angles. This one was provided to us in the problem. So this is also 130 and 5. So 5, we could use alternate interior here and here. We could use alternate interior to say that these measures are the same. Alternate interior angles. We could use alternate interior angles here as well to say this one is 50. It's 50. We could use corresponding angles for 8. Again, not the only way to do it, but 4 corresponds with 8 in this set, and in this set 4 and 8 correspond. So we know corresponding angles are also equivalent or congruent. And we have 7 left. We could use alternate exterior angles. This angle, cross the line, go to the other opposite end. And we could say that this one is 50 due to alternate exterior angles. So again, we have these angle pairs and many ways to get at it. This is just one way that you can do that. All right, so we're going to do our check and correct now. We're going to name angle 6 to be 80 degrees, and you're going to be providing not only the other angle measures but also a reason. So you're going to use one of these following reasons: vertical angles, supplementary angles, alternating or alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, or corresponding angles to find the other ones. So stop the video, go ahead and do this problem, make sure you give your reason for each, and then you can start the video again and we'll check and correct if necessary and see how you did on the work. All right, we'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right, we're back and let's take a look at this. So I think, again, you may not do this the same way, but hopefully you can reason your way through it. And I'm going to begin by saying these are supplementary. If this is 80, this must be 100, and that is due to how supplementary angles work. Okay, let's go ahead and use vertical angles here for 8. And 7, we can do the same. Again, there's lots of ways to do this. And then how about going from 5 to 1? These are corresponding, and therefore they are the same measure. They're in the same place within that set of 4. And then 2, we could do alternate, be fancy here and do alternate exterior angles. And 3, well, we know this one's 80. This must be 80 due to alternate interior angles. And there's several ways for us to get 4. We could use vertical angles, we could use supplementary angles here, we could use supplementary angles here, we could use corresponding here, we could do alternate interior here. There's just so many ways, but I'm going to do a quick vertical angles for 4. Because 1 is a vertical angle and it is 100 degrees, and they are the same measure. And there we go. 100, 100, 80, 80, 100, 100, 80, 80. So hopefully you got all of those measures and you had a valid reason as to why you could assign the measure to that particular angle. All right, so we're down to math it up on your own. So again, you're going to start with this measure here, 75 degrees, angle 3. This will be the one that is provided to you. And you're going to find the other measures, but make sure that you, one, get the measure of the angle down, and make sure you post your Y also in your work. All right, well, thanks as always for visiting and advocating for yourself. And peace, love, and pie to all. Bye-bye.